discussion, on the topics what Abhijit mentioned. I have my few discussion point to start with Mr. Salim sir. But however, to start with, I want to tell you, share a quick incident which happened back in 2008. I was an electrical engineer. I was studying my engineering back that time. I was in my third year, if I'm not wrong. So it happened something like this. Early in the morning, somewhere around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, the water pump in my house, we used to go and switch it on. I went and I switched it on. The point is it was not working. Okay, it was not working. So I was trying to figure out how do I fix my water pump. And, I was not able to do it. Well, I'm an electrical engineer. I know how a water pump works. I know about wave winding inside that. I know about lap winding inside that. I know about electrical flux and all the formulas related, I square R losses, whatever it is. I was very much aware of it. Great. The point is, I was not able to fix it. Well, a little elderly lady who used to stay upstairs, she came down to check why it is not working. And she asked me, Madhu, why is that motor not working? Well, I said, I don't know. Then suddenly what she replied is, what sort of engineer you are? My dad has paid lakhs of rupees to study the exact how does the motor works. That's something which is very important in electrical engineering especially. The point is I was not able to do that. Okay. So what happened later is, she took a small stick, okay, and there was something like a wheel which was attached to the motor, and she tried moving that wheel, and the water pump started working. That's all what it was. Okay. Right now, why am I saying this very important, this particular story is, as madam said, shared, the ability of a person, of a student to use the knowledge to make something work. Okay, and this panel discussion is all about, we wanted to share a little more points on, discuss more on what do we mean by this industry gap, the skill gap that what we have, industry requirements, that's what we have, and how do we, look at skills in a different angle, that how do we, kind of standardize these schools in the system. So let's start from that. My first question is to Salim sir. So we are talking about, my question's my phone. Yes, we are speaking about skill gap and industry requirement. What do you feel, how do you want to put it across, the significance of this particular topic?
Well, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, let's exchange this.
Thank you very much. Well, the room is filled with so much of experience, and I don't think that I'll be able to add something valuable on the top of that, but I have certain observations and perspective on skills actually. One thing is written in the wall. We don't have to reiterate. It has been reiterated with the, by all the speakers, that there is a gap, definitely. There is a gap at both the levels, at K to 10 and at the university level also. K to 10, the skills are developed, or whatever the knowledge is developed, they are like more or less permanent. They stay with you lifelong. Then you enter into a vocational, phase where you either go to an engineering college, IIT, or become a doctor, and so on. Again, at that level also, we have experienced that what is taught in the universities and what is required by the industry, there's a lot of gap actually. I mean, I'm a chemical engineer. I went to Roorkee, I went to IIT Mumbai, went to KFAPM. We solved lots of differential equations and so on. And then when I set up a chemical factory, I did not use any of them actually. So a loss of time went into that, but not in the skills which are actually needed to do the job. So the gaps at both these stages are there actually. Now, going back to the skills actually, I have a different, slightly different perspective. Maybe some of you also will like to see it from that side. Skill, once you develop those skills, whatever is required for the life, you set yourself free. Okay, ma'am was talking about the mental health of the children and more a number of students going to seek the help for mental health. Why is coming? Because the parents see certain traditional career trajectories only, and they try to see their children going to that only, and it may not be possible. Sometimes it is possible also, but then that develop anxiety among the parents, and if the parent is strong, they contain that anxiety among themselves, and if they are not strong enough, they pass it on to these children also, which is disastrous actually. Now, if the parents are made believed that your child will need certain skill set, and if these skill sets are developed in the school, they are going to be successful anyway. You don't have to worry about that, whether your child is going to go to an IIT or some EV medical college here and there, or he becomes an entrepreneur or something else. He will do because he is equipped with certain skills actually. And that sets the parents free, and that sets the children free. That's how I see the skill development, and that's how the importance of skill development is, and we need to somehow embed it in our curriculum, which NEP now is rightly thinking. So that will, be, I would say, that will do a lots of healing job at the parents and students, and a really thankful job for that. So the companies like Ulipsu or some finishing schools we need in order to enhance those skills will be needed actually. And that's all I wanted to just give that perspective on this one. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Nikhil, would you also like to add a few points on the same?
No, absolutely. I was in MIT Boston last week, right? So I was asking a professor. So what do you look at in a student when they apply for a master's in MIT? How do you select or shortlist a student there? He mentioned about 8 to 10 different points. He did not mention academic scores. Quite surprising. All of us most often speak academic scores. Javere madam also was mentioning about this. He mentioned about how excited a student is to learn is very important for us to select for him to be in university like MIT. Or any global university as such does not just look at your academic scores. They look at collaboration, they look at communication, they look at multiple skills that a student probably can showcase on the application form that he puts into. So these global universities already know, how to build global citizens, and their shortlisting mechanisms are quite different than universities probably that we get into, right? So looking at it, the significance of skill is higher than ever, I would say, and gaps as well is higher than ever. With the advent of new technologies like AI, they say there's a report which mentions that 50 to 55% of jobs that are there today will not be there in next 10 years. So how are we preparing our students? So there's a huge gap. There's already a gap, but there are new gaps that are being created by the technology. That also is our responsibility to fill in. So I think that's the perspective that I would want to add into.
Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you very much. Maniswaran sir, if you can share a few points around your thought process around, we are talking about nowadays. We are talking about building a student skill portfolio. Okay, So what's your thought on this? How do you think this is going to help them, support them?
Well, actually, when we are talking about the portfolio as principals, as my co-friends who are studying here, they can understand that every year, whenever we conduct interview, we are trying to recruit teachers, though we are looking at everything. When they come to that, they may have a good degree, having won gold medals and whatever that. When they come and display what they want to do that, having all these kind of degrees and everything, sometimes they're not able to be established themselves. We are finding it so difficult to find a right person to be like taken over into the classrooms. So this was the strategy, as ma'am also said. So every universities or every college or every institution, as you said, like it is K-10 or higher education, are looking at the employability of people. Like, so what they are supposed to do that, where are they going at, where are they heading towards, that's become a very big questions. And because they don't concentrate on any specialization or generalization in which that they are going to do that. Rather, completing the syllabus, as ma'am said, like, so leave out the 9 and 10. So that is what even the state of the thing that what we are living in, because making it, because it's rightly, ma'am said, like the CC is failed. One of the very good innovation that is brought by the CBSE, when I was working in a school in CBSE, really when it was been called off, I'm really surprised. How many schools have taken that CC in a right perspective, or they were just built only portfolios to prove to the board, so what is CC stands on. So this is one of the very important thing, but maybe as leaders or as teachers, we made one big systems fail. I'm very sorry to make it that way, because that's what like it is being called off. But what way that we are looking at, most of that, are we looking at like competitive edge? Are we making children to focus themselves? How much of importance that we have given to the children? When even ma'am in her first talk that she has given, that are we recognizing the children to their talent? I know most of the good doctors, most of the good engineers are all they become a doctor, engineer only because of, not by their talent or whatever they had, maybe because of their parents. Maybe there are good doctors having a good, they are singers, they are good painters. If they have been given an opportunity to enhance themselves in their own field, they might have done better than what they are. As ma'am has given a very lively example of their own children. Like, so maybe what kind of measurable thing that we are looking at. So that's one important problem that we have been looking at. And because we need to see that the lifelong learners, like a personal growth, and so skill that acquiring, so we have to identify the children right from the childhood. So from where we have to lift them up into the right way. So that will, I believe that will give the right thing. So
Thank you very much. So just capturing a few points from what you mentioned about building those specializations, a couple of days before, what happened is we wanted to hire a few people to our organization. We went to a particular site where we can get resumes. We downloaded resumes, somewhere around 100, 200 resumes. And when we browsed through all the resumes, there were two things which were very evident, and rest of the things which are same, almost the same. One is the name of the candidate. Second, the final score of the candidate. Other than that, rest of the things are as it is, same, ditto, copy, paste.
yes.
Well,
Yeah.
now, as a person who wants to hire a particular person to our organization, what else should I search for? It's more like, everything is same. I can't differentiate. I can't see the different specialization which a person carries. So I can't make any such judgments, right? So thank you very much for, putting light on that requirement of, the skill sets. Building such a profile of skill set, I would rather say. Nikhil, if you can show or share something about, how have you designed this entire ULIPSU program in a way which we can look at this program as a standardized program which goes to a particular school, or in the school segment for that matter.
Right. honestly, you have built it. I get to flex about it. So yeah. So Ulipsu, so Sumant was mentioning in his presentation, right? So we first are changing the mindsets of schools and the teachers and the school leaders, where we take out the extra from the extracurricular and bring skills on the forefront. One of the other reason why it is called extracurricular is also because there's no visible learning outcomes that we can see in those extracurricular. It is good to have, it is fun to have. Students can enjoy the process of it. After that, okay, I built something, I'm done, I don't know what I've learned. I don't know where I'll be using that also. So that's most of how an extracurricular session goes on. Unlike academics, academics has a particular structure. There is a learning, there is teaching process, there is learning process, there is an assessment. If not, I mean, we might disagree on the process of assessment, but there is at least a minimum standard that is there to measure how the learning is happening, right? So our tests and examinations are minimum standards. That's, let's say, basic standards. So we have introduced multiple parts to our program. It is not just content that goes out there, right? So we have content that students can use to learn from first. And students will be implementing the same going back home by building a lot of projects. Year on year, students build almost 25 to 30 different projects and bring all of the knowledge into practice. So that's where knowledge plus practice is where skill can be achieved, right? So they do that, and there are assessments in place which ensures that we can see some visible outcome. So that's how we have ensured we can, at Ulipsu, we ensured we can make sure the schools, the parents, as well as the students can see that visible outcomes. This helps us bring skill to the forefront and not another extra added into the system.
Thank you, Vikil. Thank you very much. You know, the idea of showcasing what students have or what students can do with the knowledge what they have, something which really interests and excites. Great. Salim sir, my next point is for you. If you can share a little bit about the kind of gaps that what we see in the schooling system as such, the entire schooling system as such, when we are looking at standardizing, bringing in standardized approach towards skilling program, something which is more structurized, bringing in something which is more output, visible output, a framework. What's your thoughts around that?
One thing is there while we are talking about standardization or bringing, I would say, strict structure, that goes against the creativity actually. Creativity and loss of structure in the curriculum, they go, they are not vectorially aligned actually. This is one thing we have to acknowledge. But at the same time, certain amount of discipline, certain amount of, mandatory, element should be there. And that should be identified. Like, there are tools available today. One tool, Dr. What is the name? Mayor was speaking about this tool. There are another tools also available today. You can, take that test, and it can highlight what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and based on that, the school can identify that these are the skills which you should develop, and so on. And from there, it could be made mandatory actually. I like that analogy which Mr. Sumant has given in the morning, that if it is, doctor giving an option of taking the pills or not. So if it is that, it's not going to bring the results actually. A certain structure has to be, done, but then it has to be monitored carefully and nurtured that way actually. So, don't have to be very, 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 structured. Otherwise, you may go to another extreme where the creativity and the independence of the children will be killed actually. So need to be a little bit careful, but it has to be made mandatory, certain element of this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing points on that. Nikhil, if I can ask you your thoughts around what is the outcome, in the society, in the schooling system, once we adopt such standardizations?
Right. I mean, one of my takeaway of this session today is, as per what Dr. Salim mentioned, Malini Tatra mentioned, right? So, skilling can be liberating. That's a beautiful perspective, right? So, there is huge anxiousness in the parents' minds, thinking about what the students will be doing after their 10th. I mean, because why parents choose IITs or medical or engineering is because they know kids will be doing good in those fields. So there's that anxiousness in parents' mind. Probably identifying skilling early on probably helps parents, be less anxious. At the same time, bring down that pressure on the students, so that pressure is eliminated from the students, and that can have a huge value in the confidence of a student, and probably we can have more confident students. That's one part of it. And the second is, there's a recent report which said almost 40% of youth who will be coming out and in 2030s will stop having degrees. Right? Quite surprising. I mean, we speak about college graduation and whatnot. We prep students on that, and students are not interested in a very structured learning anymore. 40% dropouts are not because of their economic conditions, but because of their choice. Can we help students identify their domains early on? That can build. I mean, we now have entrepreneurs who started at 18, 19, have built fantastic organizations now, right? So there are a lot of examples out there, as Dr. Malini was also sharing. We are now building global citizens, help students identify their interest domains, skills early on. This is what makes all the difference, probably helps build a passion-driven economy that's happening with lesser drop or higher dropouts, with new advent of technology, with whatever is happening in the industry. If there is a passion-driven, careers can be built, economy can be built. I think as educators, all of us have done a job well. So, yeah.
Oh, that's really great, Nikhil. Thank you. Thank you very much. Salim sir also mentioned about, we all have spoken or heard about financial freedom, but he also gave a new approach to this. How do we make free from, thinking too much from a job? Okay, thinking too much like how is my career going to be? So how am I going to earn? On what particular stream I'm going to work on? So if a student gets a freedom out of that, that's something, which we would be really working on. Thank you very much for those insights. My last point, Manish Suresh sir, we are talking about skill gaps. All right, great, different parts of it, but what is your suggestion, your thought process on the role of a student, role of a parent, role of a school system in this?
Well, actually, this is one kind of triangle, as always, we have to work on. When a school is one side, parent is one side, and going to student. Actually, as a school, when we thought about what we want to do for the children, and we have to communicate to the parent in a very effective way. First, unless or otherwise, your stakeholders to understand what you're trying to do, that whatever that you are going to do is going to not be very helpful. And the curriculum design. So, as madam said, so she has given a topic like a new thing, which is very innovative. And she was able to make the parents understand what they are doing. That is what, whatever that you trying to bring in, unless or otherwise you make them to get clear picture about So why are you doing it? Then all in vain. So being like a curriculum design, having like Ulipsu is coming in, unless you make people to understand that what are you trying to bring in the changes in the mindset of the children and how are you going to take up to the next level through this, that matters a lot. And in fact, when you look at that, you have to show that the skill-based learning opportunities. And actually, I happen to work in a school for the previous 5 years. The school is completely different. There's no classroom. And as ma'am said, no, like promoting the children to the next level. There's no, so it's been grouped. Children have been grouped. Of course, the size always matters. So we have called as I play, I discover, and I lead. Like that, we call that. So what happened is a child of KG will be together, grade 1 and 2 will be together, 3, 4, 5 will be together, and 6, 7 will be together. When they come to the grade 8 only, they'll come to the 4-wall system. Till then, they're all in open environment. So everything is made the children to understand why are they learning. So what is the purpose of the learning? It's not just like no books there, no exams there. Of course, it's very challenging to make the parents to understand the inception stage. When I joined, even I myself had a lot of questions. Having worked in a very conventional type of school, getting into the school, heading a school was become a challenge. I was just 6 months an observer of the school. Then I enjoyed working on that. So what I'm trying to tell you, it's not like what you want to do that, but you make why are you doing it. And also in that school, what I understood, like make the child to get the passion. Unless or otherwise, that is what the, Finlandian style of education is there. Most of you all know that. Like, so people to make them understand, play, passion, and the purpose. So that is an ideology. And when the child is able to understand what they want to become at the age of 12, the child will go and pursue what they will always sign in that. And also you must, as a school, know like we can have some kind of tie-up with the industries. Some sort of, when the child is going out of the school during the holidays, you can make them to go and try to work with, or if the child want to become a doctor, I always tell the parent, instead of telling a child to become a doctor or to become an engineer, whatever that, show them a good doctors, show them a good engineers, show them a good leaders. That is what we are failing at. Instead of pressuring the child, become a doctor, you no need to worry about that at all. Rather, you show good doctors and try to make them, the child to like interact with them and let them go and see the difficulty of the doctor and kind of whatever that it happens to them. So we have one project like that's a kind of school which is project oriented. We'll make the children to go and do whatever that is like know your profession. The child will go and study about a collector, study about a doctor, study about an auto rickshaw, a machine, and whatever that they'll come and present in the school about what they have learned, what they've understood about that, which is giving a very clear picture. What are the various profession across thing. So these are all the kind of practical steps that we can try to bring. Of course, though we have some challenges in bringing all that, but at least we can stimulate the children, then we can start working on that, I hope, so that unless even your teachers, make them to understand what you are trying to do that. So we have to give a professional development to what the skill or whatever that we wanted to employ, rather than always they're running behind the marks and the scores and all that. Because though the parents are like that, make them awareness. Parents have to sit with the children, understand the children, involve with the children, and you can bring the parents inside the school in spite of the challenges that we have. So these kind of collaboration that brings what the gaps can be, instead of make it very wide, and we can just narrow down the gap so that we can win over what we are trying to come across.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing this. I really like the point that what you mentioned about how do we collaborate with external different organizations, different companies, not only in terms of financial, relationships with any different programs, but having that, providing that exposure for students and what happens inside a company or different organization, different factories. So that would really inspire them. So thank you very much for giving that insight. And I would also like to mention two things which Sumant as well as Nikhil has ensured in the organization. One, we have close to 300 employees, 350 employees in the organization. Not even one single person has been asked for their marks card. Every single person in the organization is been hired only on the base of the skill set what they bring in. Not even a single person of their marks. Early in the morning, we spoke about, action speaks. So this is one of the action that what we have taken. Second thing, what they have also ensured is, yes, we have our development office in Mysore in Karnataka. The doors are open for all students who wants to come and do something in the office. So they come, they take up different projects. They want to come, they discuss with the experts, subject matter experts. They want support for their projects. They want to build their projects. So this opportunity is what Nikhil and Sumant has opened up for any student, and zero cost. So we don't charge. They haven't charged a single rupee. In fact, whatever we can give for the students for their betterment, we have done it. So if similar kind of opportunities also opens up in different other sectors, different other companies, that would be something bringing a real ripples in the education system. Okay. So anyhow, thank you very much, Nikhil sir, Manish Suresh sir, and Salim sir for being in this panel and sharing your thoughts for our team. Okay. Thank you very much.